Yes, we have made it to Friday, February 27th, 2026, kicking off the show with the latest from Lamb of God. When does that new album come out, by the way? Lamb of God, Into Oblivion release date. If I can type in Oblivion correctly here, let's see. March 13th, coming up Friday the 13th, pretty soon, as a matter of fact. I always forget February is so short. I was having this somewhat of a dilemma with my utility bill. It said it was due March 4th, and I'm like, well, I get paid on the 5th. You're going to get your payment on the 5th, all right? You better not send me that threatening email telling me, hey, you're late. We're going to shut off your water, shut off your lights, electricity, everything. I'm like, well, just wait a day. Just wait a day. If you want to get a hold of me, you can over at 208-535-1015. Lamb of God also going to be in Salt Lake City March 28th, 15 days after the album comes out. They're going on the Is it a fun-named tour? No, it's just the North America 2026 tour. Lamb of God with Kublai Khan, Fit for an Autopsy, Sangui Sugabog, Saturday, March 28th at the Union in Salt Lake City. Just the day before that, there's Slaughter to Prevail, Whitechapel, and Attila, March 27th. Where was that taking place at? Was that also the Union, or was that somewhere else? I think it was the Complex. So, yeah, if you want to go for 2 days of heaviness, I highly recommend going to both of those shows. You can find them both on our concert calendar at riverbendmediagroup.com/calendar. I was sort of sad after we recorded the noon hour of Madness and Mayhem. This is not going to matter to a lot of people. Maybe those who grew up in Southern California, spent some time in Southern California. This guy was a staple in radio in Southern California for a very long time. I heard him when he was old back then. I didn't realize he was 76 years old. Uncle Joe Benson, one of the most prominent radio staples of Los Angeles, spent some time on KLOS. I think he was also on another station that I cannot remember off the top of my head, but he was also on 100.3 The Sound, and that's the station that inspired me to get into radio. That's the station that I would tune in after I was cut from the basketball team my sophomore year of college. I would tune into 100.3 The Sound. It was a classic rock station. They would do the whole thing where they would actually play vinyl records on the air, even when it was 2015, 2016, they were still playing vinyl records on the air, which I thought was awesome. Now, 10 years later, unfortunately, Uncle Joe Benson has passed away. I was listening to some of his old air checks. People were reminiscing on YouTube, looking up his old air checks as well. I do like these YouTube channels that upload old radio DJs air checks. This is what I talked about with my family, also my girlfriend just recently, how when I used to play basketball, I hated it, to be quite honest with you. I was terrible at it. I hated practicing. I never wanted to watch film. I just wanted to play the sport and have fun. And so once the skill level got too high for me, that's when I realized, hey, I'm not going to make it to the NBA. I'm not even close. I'm sucking at junior college basketball. Who says I can make it to D3, let alone, D2, D1, eventually professional? So, yeah, realized I had to go somewhere else career-wise, and that's when I listened to 100.3 The Sound, listened to Mark from Mark and Brian. At the time, it was Mark in the morning on that station, and then middays was Uncle Joe Benson. And he talked a lot more than 15 seconds or whatever that post was that Victor and I talked about yesterday. Midday personalities actually having a personality. Uncle Joe Benson was awesome. Rest in peace to him, 76 years old. It's Peach's Pit Party right here on this fine Friday. Again, if you want to get a hold of me, you can over at 208-535-1015. We'll talk about some more random crap coming up here in just a few. It's K-Bear 101. Obviously, this year I'll be turning 30, the big 3-0. That's if I make it to August 29th of this year. I was already kind of, I'm a little concerned that my girlfriend's sister, she got engaged recently, and she's trying to plan her wedding date. And I guess the first couple of dates that she wanted were not going to work with the rest of the family. So now she's trying to plan her wedding date for the day before my birthday. I'm like, you know what? You're cool and all, but at the same time, I want to have a big celebration. If I'm going to turn 30, 1996 to 2026, I can't believe that. 30 years of being alive here, I'm lucky, making it to 30. But I was looking at this question here. What's a boring adult thing you secretly enjoy now? And I have to say, the older I get, They do say when you get older, you start to feel these weird pains and stuff. Josh from Classy 97 this morning was just talking about how he woke up with a weird pain in his foot. I will sleep a certain way, and if I sleep with my neck the slightest bit, bent, all of a sudden my neck hurts for the rest of the day. Also with my CPAP, it doesn't help. I got that thing clinging onto my face, that whole thing. But what's a boring adult thing you secretly enjoy now? Checking my bank app, feeling genuine joy when nothing unexpected happened. That's my idea of thrill now. I got to agree. I look at sometimes I look at my credit card balance and go, what happened here? And then I look and I'm like, oh, it's one of those automated charges. That reminds me, my gym membership is going to be charging me my annual fee coming up soon. I might need to cancel that right before it does. I think it's happening March 1st. I'm 2 days away. I don't go to the gym all that much anymore. I kind of keep it just in case I have some time to be able to, go on the treadmill, lift some weights. It's been a long time since I've done that. I need to get back to it. Going to bed early for what's a boring adult thing you secretly enjoy now. Like 9 p.m. You got fresh sheets, cold room, phone on Do Not Disturb. Pure bliss is what this person says. Young me would be so disappointed, but current me is living the dream. I feel like I went the opposite route. I used to be known as that guy in high school that would go to bed at 8 p.m., wake up at 6 a.m. My friend Eric always teases me about that crap. Always. And now I stay up till like 11, midnight. Sometimes in the weekend, I'll get a little extra crazy, wake up at 2 in the morning. But then I also go to bed and then I wake up at like nearly 11 the next day. And it makes me so mad, makes me so irritated that I just wasted like a good portion of the day. Grocery shopping alone, another answer for what's a boring adult thing you secretly enjoy now. It's fun to get a whole new pile of groceries. It's fun until you get to the self-checkout or the checkout line, whichever you use, and then you see the total and you're like, oh, wow, I really just spent this much on food. And you think that those snacks are going to last a long time, but they never do. You always eat them within like the first 2 days, or at least I do. Sleep theory, words are worthless on KBR 101, Idaho's only rock station. I am Peaches. This Saturday, tomorrow, Tooth Fairy Day. Kids are getting a raise this year. I don't know why I'm talking about this. According to Delta Dental's original Tooth Fairy poll, the Tooth Fairy, she's now leaving an average of $5.84 per tooth, which is a near 20% increase from last year. I used to get $5 back in the day. I was spoiled. I'm such a spoiled brat. I don't know if I'll be able to fulfill my future kids' Tooth Fairy wishes with what I'm not going to be able to give my kids the Tooth Fairy is not going to be able to give my kids $5 for every lost tooth. That's a whole lot of money. All right. I remember back when I was a kid and I lost my tooth or I lost teeth, and I would get $5 under the pillow. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do with this? And now I'm like, oh, sweet. $5? Keep that in my pocket just in case I need to leave a tip somewhere. Put that on the table. It's taken care of, that type of thing. As a kid, of course, you don't care about money. And I remember the day that I went onto the family computer and I think my mom left the file open and I clicked on it and sure enough, it was the I don't know what the word is for it. It was like the template for the letters the Tooth Fairy would leave me. And I would go, oh, how does my mom have access to this? I'm not going to say it out loud, but you understand. We do have the KBR 101 app. You can always listen to us that way. I was laughing with Aubrey because, I think there was one time when we first started talking, she tuned into KBR. She was being awful nice, and she's like, well, if I'm trying to date this guy who's on the radio, maybe I should give radio a chance. And she's not the biggest rock and metal fan, but she still comes to shows with me just because she loves doing that with me. She loves spending time with me. It's very, very, very sweet. I'm very lucky. But there was one time when we first started dating, she turned on K-Bear and Limp Bizkit's Nookie was playing. And she didn't understand a single part of it. She hadn't heard it before, but now every single time she hears that song, I don't know if I can even say the second word. No, I think I can. It's like she calls it the Nookie Dookie Cookie song is what she calls it. And she's like, why is that so popular? It's such a weird song. I'm like, Limp Bizkit's a classic. What are you talking about? And then I found out also that Maddie from down the hall, she told me yesterday, she gets very frustrated every single time Limp Bizkit's latest track, Making Love to Morgan Wallen, gets played here on K-Bear. She'll switch over to Alt 101, is what she told me. I mean, it's a great alternative, no pun intended. It's a great substitution for listening to K-Bear. If you don't like a particular song on K-Bear, you can always switch over to Alt 101 or Cannonball 101. There's 3 apps, one for each of them. There's plenty of different options right here in the building. You know, you can always go to kbear.fm and then boom, the player starts playing right there. If you don't like the song playing, if you scroll to the bottom of the page, there's the Alt logo, the Cannonball 101 logo. Click on either of those. Boom, listen to us that way. So many ways to listen to us. Make sure to tell your friends and also family about us because, well, we're the best rock station out there, obviously. Here's the Black Keys, their latest. You Got to Lose on K-Bear 101. Yeah, I don't like this guy's last name. Pitcher Max Scherzer. I know about him. I just don't like his last name. Max Scherzer. It's tough to say. He signed a 1-year, $3 million deal with the Toronto Blue Jays and will be playing in his 19th big league season. Almost 20 years playing professional baseball. Don't you think as a pitcher, your arm would just be gone? I would think so. He has one of the most decorated resumes in baseball history, including 3 Cy Young Awards, 2 World Series rings in 2019 and 2024. And while 19 seasons is a big deal, he has a long way to get to catch the leaders in baseball longevity. Nolan Ryan, the pitching god, pitched for 27 years. And also Tommy John, the guy who the surgery is named after the Tommy John surgery. He pitched for 26 years, 27 and 26, almost as long as I've been alive. They pitched in Major League Baseball. Harrison Bader of the San Francisco Giants already making a big impact at spring training. He crushed a home run that left Scottsdale Stadium, and when the ball landed, it dented the side of a Cactus Bowls food truck. Well, after Bader left the game, he went over to the food truck with a Sharpie and signed sorry in his name next to the dent. I thought that was pretty cute. You know, Phoenix Suns owner Matt Ishbia, is that how you say it? Once more star players participating in All-Star Weekend events when it heads to Phoenix next year. Ishbia has offered to pay a $1 million prize to the winners of the 2027 Slam Dunk and Three-Point contests, with another $1 million going to charity in each event. Unfortunately, the offer doesn't conform to the current agreements that the NBA and the Players Union have around the All-Star events, but that could be changed. The last time a current All-Star won the dunk contest was Blake Griffin back in 2011. And why not talk about this? You know, one final thing here for the Shot Clock Sports Update. The running world lost a legend as Olympian Jeff Galloway died at the age of 80. Not only did he qualify for the Olympics back in 1972, where's my old car horn button? He went on to become an influential running author and pioneer of the run-walk method, also known as jeffing. Jeffing, that has helped countless runners finish long races. Even later in his life, Galloway continued to adapt by moving into social media, podcasts, and race promotion. My dad's name is also Jeff. Maybe I should call him and be like, hey, have you ever Jeffed before? And I'm sure he'll be like, excuse me, what did you just ask? Anyway, that's your Shot Clock Sports Update right here on K-Bear 101. As a guy who used to work for TV, I understand a thing or two in the business. By that, I mean, I really don't. I've talked to people who have worked in the business, all right? I was at TMZ for like a year doing the whole grunt work thing where I was giving Harvey his coffee at 4 a.m. I was doing mundane tasks that the real people of TMZ were just handing off to peasants like me, my good friend Matt, who I met when working at TMZ, my other friend Jose. You know, there was a group of us, and if we didn't do any part of that grunt work, well, they just tossed us like, you know, old food. But the reason why I was bringing up TV is because I wanted to talk about reality shows and how they're often fake, of course. You know, reality TV shows, they always feel just a little too perfect. And I was reading something here about how Survivor is on its 50th season. It started in the year 2000, kicked off to acclaim from both fans and critics. The show just keeps chugging year after year after year. One of the biggest illusions when it comes to this show and many other shows, many other reality shows, many contestants aren't just fans who applied. No, producers actively recruit people they think will make good TV. Actors, influencers, personalities who fit story roles. That's why you always meet like that one guy who's specifically just a complete jerk to all the other contestants and everybody hates him. They put those people specifically in there. Production doesn't just pick players, they shape how they appear too. Contestants are often told what clothes to wear. Production even buys outfits to help define those personalities visually. Reality shows shoot thousands of hours of footage and compress it into episodes. I mean, could you imagine sitting there on an island? You're like half naked, dirty, there's a camera in your face at all times. Reactions shown may be from different moments. Confessionals can be moved around timeline-wise. Drama is built in the editing, which is pretty crazy. Someone looks angry at that tribal council, but that eye roll might have been about a mosquito 6 hours earlier, that type of thing. Producers have created fake immunity idols with official-looking notes. Contestants believe they were real because production designed them. Imagine playing poker and the dealer hands someone fake cards just to spice up the episode. You know, massive crews film everything, hundreds of people nearby. Challenges are designed, tested, controlled environments. Why is it that all the dudes, all the women on Survivor, everyone on Survivor, they always look somewhat groomed? It's because they have that. You can't just... I don't know. It's such a fake show. I wish it was more real, like Naked and Afraid. I think even that was somewhat scripted because you can't just put somebody naked in the wilderness, watch them with the camera the entire time. Oh, man. The Biggest Loser is the worst one of them all. Like I've talked about many times where fat people just cry all the time. I only lost 10 pounds. I didn't lose the 12 that I wanted. And they're working out hours upon hours each day. They're forced to eat like the healthiest food. And then they go back to their regular lives after the show is over and they get fat again. It's real sad. Anyway, it's Peach's Pit Party right here on K-Bear 101 with the latest from the Amity Affliction House of Cards. I was just talking about scripted reality shows, and this seems like a publicity stunt, especially with the world of wrestling. There's this weird guy by the name of Darby Allin. I shouldn't insult him because he's very what's it called? Menacing looking. He looks like the type of guy that would find out who I am, heard what I said, and then make his way to East Idaho to then beat me up, even though he's a much smaller dude. He was in Tucson doing a radio interview while riding in an Uber. Mid-interview, the Uber driver just abruptly snapped, confronting, is it Allen or Allin? Darby Allin? I believe it's Allen. Confronting Allen about being on speakerphone during the ride, saying it was rude. So he was calling into a show and sure enough was just talking the entire time. I guess the Uber driver got mad. The situation escalated quickly with the driver shouting and even pounding on the steering wheel before ordering Allen out of the car in the middle of a highway. Allen exited, ended up stranded on the side of the road, continuing the interview while walking. At least he continued the interview. Does it say what station he was on? If they have that recorded somewhere? Hold on, let me see here. Rock 102.1 KFMA on his phone. Wow. All right. Well, they just got a whole bunch of publicity. Oh, they even uploaded the video. I might need to watch this, but I'll watch it off the air just because I don't want to play it here and all of a sudden they cuss and I got to hit the dump button. If you want to look it up, Darby Allin, that's Allin, Tucson, kicked out of Uber, should pop up for you. I just realized something. I just realized this is the last weekend before we do the big time change. That's right, next weekend. Not this one, the next one. Sunday, March 8th, we lose an hour of sleep. We spring forward. You know, don't you know that dumb, like, hashtag spring forward? Like, they're always positive about it, but nobody likes it whatsoever. I'm glad that's the one thing all of us can just hate. The fact that we lose an hour of sleep, and also even in the fall, I hate gaining an extra hour. Like, there's no need to change. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Isn't it Arizona that doesn't do the time change anymore? They just say, hey, you know what? We're at this time, and that's it. That's how it should be. But anyway, we lose an hour of sleep. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm just a guy complaining about it on the radio. One of the many people complaining about it. But also, we're doing a fun giveaway, just in case you have missed out on hearing about this. We've teamed up with Brent Gordon Law for Make the Switch, where we're giving away a Nintendo Switch 2 bundle. All you have to do is sign up on the apps. First of all, it's super, super, super easy to fill out the forms on the K-Bear app, the Alt app, the Cannonball 101 app. You can sign up on one of the apps, call it good. You can sign up on two, call it good, whatever. Sign up in all three. You get the maximum 3 entries. Just make sure to sign up once on each app. No more. No less. Just sign up once on each app. Those are your 3 entries. And then listen extra carefully for the Mario sounder. It'll be very obvious when you hear it. Be caller 20 when it plays at 208-535-1015. And earn an extra entry that way in as well. You can earn multiple entries with the Mario sounder. Again, thanks to Brent and Gordon Law for helping us give away a Nintendo Switch 2 bundle. The Nintendo Switch 2, I think the first Switch was one of the most highest selling consoles of all time. We gave away, I think, like 3 or 4 of those. Now we moved on to the sequel, the Nintendo Switch 2. Win one of those with us. Again, thanks to Brent Gordon Law. Make the switch. Sign up now. Let's do some Avenged Sevenfold magic on K-Bear. Here we go. Here's a great question for To Peach Their Own. I don't know why I just now saw this, or just now. This just gave me the idea to ask it for the segment, honestly. FanDuel posted, if you ran a 40-yard dash today, what would your time be? I feel like mine would be better than most people here in the building. That shows you how unathletic most people are here in the... I'm not going to actually... Never mind. Forget I said that. I'm thinking, who could I honestly beat? Definitely Justin. Sorry, Justin, for saying his name first. Jade, just because he's older and his back is terrible. Victor as well. Katie, definitely not. She would kill. I think I could beat Josh and Chantel. I think. I feel like Daniel from sales, he's very lengthy. I feel like he could run pretty fast. Jacob, if he tried, maybe. Melissa and Maddie, I feel like one of them would surprise me. I feel like Melissa would just somehow run a 40-yard dash in like 4.49 or something like that. I'm mentioning these names that most people don't even know listening to my show, so my apologies. I'm just thinking about it, laughing in my head. Andrea over there, right by Jade's office. I feel like she could beat my 40-yard dash time too. Oh man, I feel like I wouldn't be dead last though. That's the thing. So yeah, I should save this for Monday for To Peach Their Own. If you ran a 40-yard dash today, what would your time be? I see all these dudes about my weight all the time in the NFL running these 40-yard dashes in these extreme times. There was a guy that I just watched yesterday, 315 pounds, defensive tackle, ran a 4.8 or something like that. And I was just thinking about like his poor knees. Like if I were to try to go running now, I'm about like 360. If I were to try to go running now and try going running like 2 miles, my knees would be done for. Now, this is one of those stupid radio things where I talk about a survey that gets posted or gets put into the radio prep. I apologize, but it is a great topic to discuss, but just because there's a lot of driving that I'm particularly doing this year with Aubrey in the car, maybe her brother and his wife, maybe some other company that we bring along to a show in 2026. I'm not exactly sure, but overall, people hate annoying passengers and their terrible habits, right? You're driving, there's somebody in the back seat causing a ruckus. Maybe the person sitting next to you just overall sucks. The survey found that most drivers can only tolerate irritating passenger behavior for about 13 minutes before speaking up. Interestingly, patience seems to grow with age. I find myself, even though I still have very little patience, it's way better from when I was a kid. It gives me a list here of the most annoying passenger habits. You got like backseat driving, obviously. Hate those people. Sometimes I'll turn on the navigation. I mean, not sometimes. Most of the time, I'll turn on the navigation to get somewhere, right? And sure enough, there would be that one person in the car that goes, oh, ignore that. Go my route. I know a shortcut. And they end up taking me through a route that's so much longer than what the GPS would have given me. Leaving trash behind. That's what I told Aubrey, her brother, and his wife. I'm like, hey, listen, anything you leave in this car is going to be automatically thrown away, no matter what it is. Your phone, some random bottle, some souvenir that you wanted to keep. If you leave it on one of my seats, it's being thrown away. After every road trip to and from Salt Lake City or Boise, I throw that crap away. All right, I empty my trash. Sometimes stuff used to just sit there. So that's why now I'm like, whatever gets left behind, I toss. Complaining about your driving. Luckily, there wasn't any of that whatsoever. Aubrey, she can't drive in the big city. I can't drive in the snow. We have that trade-off. You know, we've talked about that on the show before plenty of times. Eating messy or smelly food. Well, I got air fresheners. Who cares about that? Saying watch out even when nothing is wrong. Oh, nothing irritates me more than when someone just like sporadically screams because they saw something maybe like on their phone, like something that got posted on social media. They scream in shock. And it's like, what happened? And they're like, oh, so-and-so died. Oh, you had to scream while I'm driving? That type of thing. Putting feet on the dashboard? Oh, don't even get me started on those people. Let's move on from this. This is kind of dumb. So I heard Victor talk about this morning, and I wanted to comment on it because Hereditary, the movie, it's one of the most artsy horror movies you'll ever watch, and it's, in my opinion, not that very good. Now, my definition of a great horror movie, I don't really have one, but I just know after seeing Hereditary, I'm like, wow, this movie was just it was just artsy. That's the whole point of it. It's just supposed to be artsy and slow and weird and make you feel uncomfortable, but there's not really anything in there that makes me go, whoa, this is scary to me. I mean, there's shock scenes. There's shocking scenes. I'm not going to spoil it if you haven't seen it. I know one of the actors, one of the kids in the movie, he like legitimately broke his nose when he hit it on the desk. That happened in real life. Like, he legit broke his nose. It looks so fat in this picture because he broke it. It's all swollen and everything. I have a good feeling I'm not going to be a fan of Midsommar. Haven't even attempted to watch that movie. What are some good horror movies to me? I mean, I do like the Conjuring series. What else is like just really good that stands out? I mean, most horror movies, they all follow the same type of formula. You know, they have the jump scares. Some of them are cheesy. You'll very rarely ever find a great horror movie. I mean, Hereditary stands out just because it's artsy and it's different. But at the same time, most horror movies, they're subpar, unfortunately. I need to come up with a list here. Where's my thing? I need to type this in. What's considered, or give me a top 10 horror movies of the 21st century. Because a lot of the classics, I mean, they're just so old at this point that I'm like, is this really scary? It might have been scary back in 1970, whatever, when The Exorcist came out. See, top 10 horror movies of the 21st century so far. I see Get Out, which is more so like a thriller, and more so there's some comedy elements to it. I see Hereditary there. The Witch from 2015. I don't think I've seen this, but I've heard it's downright fantastic. There's the original Conjuring. There's The Babadook from 2014. It Follows, also another one on this list here that is very freaky. That one actually gives me the heebie-jeebies. The Descent, also terrifying. A Quiet Place. Again, I think that one's a thriller, isn't it? It's more so just like a thriller, action thrill. It's not really like, actually, yeah, maybe it is a horror movie now that I think about it, because you have those good scenes. I mean, A Quiet Place is a tremendous movie. 28 Days Later from 2002. Also a pretty good movie. I watched it on a plane. I thought it would be better than what it was, but I was just kind of like, that's mediocre. The Lighthouse is on this list. The Lighthouse with Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. That's supposed to be a terrifying movie. I haven't watched it, but I've heard it's rather weird. It's black and white, seems artsy as well. These artsy films I am not a fan of. Like Stanley Kubrick, 2001: A Space Odyssey. You want to be bored to death? Watch that piece of crap. Here we go with today's What the Headline, taking place in Saskatchewan, one of my favorite named places, Saskatchewan. Just a fun thing to say in Canada. Police there have determined that a recent power outage in a small town wasn't from weather or any other natural cause. I've seen stories like this where like a squirrel maybe chewed through a line and that's what caused the whole thing to happen. Well, no, thieves just managed to steal a power pole. That's it. The case is a real head scratcher. Power went out for about 2 hours before utility workers were able to get it restored, but then investigators noticed a missing power pole that had been on an abandoned farm. Police believe thieves pulled the pole with the transformer out of the ground, then loaded it onto a truck. So far, police have no leads, and the pole has not been found. They believe copper theft may have been the motive. I was wondering in my head, I'm like, why on earth would they steal that? Because I had my catalytic converter stolen for that very same reason. I was parked outside my ex-girlfriend's house, my 2003 Honda Element at the time. I got in trouble because I spent the night there and I wasn't supposed to. And I woke up the next morning and went to start the car to go back to my parents' place. All of a sudden, my car sounds like something straight out of Fast and Furious. And so I had to call my dad, and that's how he found out that I spent the night there. So he was already mad at me. And then I found out, yes, my catalytic converter was stolen, which he paid for and all of that. So I still feel bad to this day that happened. You know, copper, stealing catalytic converters. What a dumb thing to do. The crime is extremely dangerous, is what it says here. The police say the crime is extremely dangerous because the pole carried high voltage live power. They're asking anyone who saw suspicious activity in the area to contact them. I still remember to this day, of course, back in 2022, I think that's when this happened, maybe 2023. I think it was summertime 2023, when me and Little Russell went to Five Finger Death Punch, Megadeth, The Who, and Fire from the Gods. I got to interview AJ Channer at the time, the vocalist for Fire from the Gods, as well as Richie, their guitarist. And then I interviewed one of the guys in The Who. I had to have a translator for that. Both those interviews are still up on demand, of course, wherever you get your podcasts, the Artist Interrogations podcast. I remember it was so funny because, well, I'm glad I didn't pay for a ticket. I understand people who are still very upset about that show all of a sudden coming to an abrupt halt because, well, somebody crashed into, I think it was a power pole like this one, and took out all the power in the venue. And the funny part about it was that it was during the beginning of A Little Bit Off, and Ivan Moody singing, "I woke up a little off today," and then all of a sudden all the lights and everything went out. And that was it. That was the end of the show. There were so many people that were infuriated by that. You should have seen the looks on some people's faces. And of course, if you act crazy in public, if you act irrationally mad, you're gonna get made fun of. Obviously, you're gonna be like a Karen on a viral video. Oh, that still makes me laugh. I still love looking at those Karen videos, and it's like, I wonder what they think now that they've been put on blast. They've become viral online, like that lady in Dairy Queen that like lost her mind because of something happened in the drive-thru, something that didn't need that much of a reaction. But anyway. Again, so many people at that Five Finger Death Punch show, they were just so mad. And I was like, well, time for us to go home. So me and Little Russell at the time got into the K-Bear truck, drove to In-N-Out, and then drove back the night of. Wasn't too bad of a drive. We got back at like midnight, but still. I mean, I got my interview. I got to see part of Five Finger Death Punch. I thought it was rather fun anyway. That's today's What the Headline right here on K-Bear 101. K-Bear 101, it's Peach's Pit Party. I'm reading here about this hospital. They experienced a memorable day when two newborns born within hours of each other shocked the maternity unit. I don't know why it said this. Did this happen recently? Why was this published yesterday when it says on January 31st, the hospital staff delivered babies whose sizes were on opposite sides of the spectrum? This article is a month late. They're just now publishing this. I guess it might have been just published on January 31st, and then People magazine picked it up a month later to talk about it. But still, it's worth talking about. One newborn entered the world weighing a whopping 13 pounds, making him the largest baby ever born at the hospital. I was about 9 pounds, 15 ounces when I was born. I was an ounce away from being 10 pounds. But I was also 23 inches. I was a big baby, right? Well, how small was the other baby? Because I find it hilarious that they took a picture of these two babies. One of them looks like a baby version of Shaq, and the other one is just a little petite baby. Where's the weight of that kid? Oh, only 4 pounds. There you go. The contrast of their baby's size to the hospital's record-breaking one made the moment even sweeter for each of the parents. Yeah, it's funny looking at these two kids. Hopefully they grow up to become best friends. You know, there's always that one large guy in the group. I'm, of course, the large guy in my friend group. But it would be funny to see these two all of a sudden become best friends because of them being born at the same hospital. One was 4 pounds. The other one's a whopping 13. I wonder how big the 13-pounder is going to be. This morning, all the metal news outlets were posting not only about the new Lamb of God track, but also the band Frozen Soul. They're legendary, aren't they? They just released a song with Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance. It's a weird collaboration, but Gerard, I listened to the track. Gerard can really deliver the high-pitched screams. The song I was about to play for Peach's Pick of the Day earlier this afternoon at 2 p.m., and I might still next week, but I know for a fact we're going to add it to our Jank Show library, Saturday nights, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., 4 hours of just crushing, brutal metal. One of the more tedious projects I was working on yesterday that I actually finished, well, the main library was ranking the songs of the main K-Bear playlist, And so I've moved on to the Jenk Show portion of the K-Bear library, and I've been looking at the different songs, trying to add new songs that I may have played for Peach's Pick of the Day earlier this year that I'm hoping to get onto Jenk Show. We really amp things up. It's 4 hours of just crushing brutal metal. You'll listen to it and be like, radio is allowed to play this? Absolutely. But I mean, we're the only radio station really wanting to play these tracks, which is why I always recommend you should download the K-Bear 101 app, listen to us elsewhere besides the car, besides your 5-minute commute, listen to us at work, kbear.fm. So many ways to listen to us. There's no excuse not to listen. That's the slogan I like to say. Thanks for listening to Peach's Pit Party, the podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please share, subscribe, and rate the podcast. Peach's Pit Party is hosted by me, Peaches, a.k.a. Brendan Peach, and is a production of Riverbend Media Group. For more information or to contact the show, visit riverbendmediagroup.com. Until next time, Peach out.